and I found you on Clubhouse, and I doubt that many people my age go on Clubhouse. I also started an Instagram account, and I had no idea how to use Instagram. I found out from my neighbor's high school children how to use Instagram. So now I do have an Instagram account. Okay. And through that, I'm finding wonderful people to interview. So you are one. Okay. So my first question to you, Argentina, is what does a business coach do?
What does a business coach do? I think, you're a businesswoman yourself. So being business for yourself can sometimes be isolating, right? You're wearing so many hats, and sometimes, having a business coach is almost having like a business partner without needing to have someone to be on your payroll permanently. So what does a business coach do? I think, I got your notes from your guide questions, and I think you kind of nailed it in the head in terms of it's a combination of consulting and therapy all at once, because most of the times when you're working with a business coach, you tend to not only discuss the business, but also the person in terms of where they're at, right? Because you also offer that extra support in terms of not just on the strategy, but in terms of overcoming certain things that they may also be dealing with in their personal aspect of their life as well.
So you include that.
Yes, in the business coaching, because you build a relationship, like a real true relationship with the person that you're working with. And then that's something that I find most effective, because you can't really work with a person that unless you have that personal connection somehow.
Okay, great. Well, I call myself a grandmapreneur because
I love it.
Because I have 6 grandchildren, and 3 of them live with me.
Wow.
So I am trying to run a business while I'm also putting my grandchildren first.
Wow.
So I think it's time for me to do that, to get some help there. Okay. So my next question is what are your strengths?
So what are my strengths? I think definitely my strengths include my diverse experience, having been born, like what I mentioned earlier, having been born and raised in the Philippines and moving to Canada as an adult, and having worked in various industries from retail, finance, sales, travel, health and beauty. And I'm also a mom. I think being a mom is one of the best strengths a person can have, because you're really that. You're a coach for life, basically, for these little humans. And a lot of my coaching style has really evolved when I had kids. I looked at things from a different perspective, and I'm also coming from a lens of not only am I here sharing my expertise, I'm also here to learn from you in terms of how can I be better myself as a coach. So there's that certain element of a piece there in the relationship that I want the person that I'm working with I don't want them to feel intimidated by the relationship as much as they're getting value. I also want to offer that extra layer of, that it's a mutual, beneficial relationship.
So how many children do you have?
I have twins, and they're 10.
Oh, that's great.
So that's actually the name of my company is Gabe and Angel, and those are their names, Gabriel and Angeline.
Oh, well, that's wonderful, because I was trying to figure out your name.
Yeah.
Okay, now I know. Okay, that's great. Well, my oldest grandchild is 9.
Wow.
And my youngest is 5.
Oh, my goodness. Wow. So
it's from 2 families. So, So anyway, I understand totally where you're coming from. What do your clients say about you?
What do my clients say about me? I think what I love about what I do and the clients that I'm working with, first of all, I'm extremely selective as to who I want to work with. I always say it's not a one-way street. So the same way that a client would interview me, I'm interviewing them as well. So I don't have any problem saying no to a client if I feel like it's not going to be a mutually beneficial relationship, like what I mentioned earlier. So what I love about the clients that I've worked with and that I'm currently working with is that they really feel supported, and that they really feel that even after the relationship, the friendship continues. So I really value relationship very much. That, if I don't hear from my client, I don't even sometimes call them my client, because I always say to them that once you sign up with me, you're family. So my core has always been family, and anything and everything that I do always surrounds with that. Mm-hmm. So I want to make sure that the people that I'm working with, coaching or otherwise, feel like they're an extension of that.
Well, that's great. That's great. But sometimes it's hard to tell them something that's kind of hard to hear, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, that's really one of the things that I'm very comfortable, even as a young person, although in our culture, in the Filipino culture, it's not really traditional that people feel comfortable in having difficult conversations, but that's always something that I really thrive in, is that I'm not scared of diving into difficult conversations with people, and I'm not afraid of telling them exactly how I feel and what I think.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, that's okay. So you sound wonderful. What kind of clients do you look for? Like certain businesses? Or just the person, or what?
Not necessarily business, but I look more for, I particularly love working with female entrepreneurs who lead with value and are fueled by the joy that they get through the acts of service. So those are the type of, clients that I resonate with, because already there's that mutual connection. We have similarities already. And like what I said, I really thoroughly enjoy working with clients that understand the value of relationships, and are also very family focused. So I find that when I'm working with clients with those with the similar core values as I do, I just find that the interactions are very enriching.
Okay, that's wonderful. So I'm hoping that this interview might give you some more clients. From people who listen to you and see you and know your values. So this has a lot of purposes, this interview, by the way. This is to help me learn about business coaching, like mm-hmm. What do I need? Mm-hmm. And it's also about you to spread what you do. And it's also about people who don't have a business coach to find out what kind of business coach they would like to work with. Mm-hmm. So that's why I'm doing this.
And you're doing an amazing thing, because a lot of times people don't take the time to interview several people, because throughout the process, you're also learning, right? What you don't like, what do you like, something that resonates with you, and also the intangible things. Mm-hmm. Because I very much believe in energy. So when you're talking to people, you kind of like feel their energy, you understand that there's certain connection there. Beyond the words that's being said, right?
So I was in a Clubhouse group about branding. Mm. And I said, I have no idea what my brand is because I'm an inventor. Mm-hmm. And I have 2 products, okay? Mm-hmm. And one guy said to me right there, he says, Connie, your brand is Grandmapreneur. Mm-hmm. I don't know what that means, but I don't really know what it means to brand myself as a grandmapreneur, but I think I'm taking a step in that direction. Mm-hmm. So I want to know, besides being a grandmapreneur at age 73, I'm an inventor. So I used to be a college writing teacher, and I retired after 40 years. And so I retired at age 68, and I invented a product. My products are mainly for people who are my age, because we are totally overlooked in the marketplace. For example, everything is apps for young people. Everything is for young people. And so my first invention is called Tip and Split.
I saw that.
And what it is I know when I go out to a restaurant, I really cannot read the small print on the menu. And also the restaurant is too dark. I don't know if you had that experience when you go out with like your parents or your grandparents.
Yeah.
Okay, so I made a magnifier, and I have a light on the back in case the restaurant is dark, because I usually have to go look for a candle.
Yeah.
And then you can figure out the tip and split the bill in seconds.
Fantastic.
Okay, so this is not an app. There are apps that will figure out a tip and split the bill. I know that. And there are magnifiers and there are lights. But this is kind of a fun item that, like if a bunch of older women go out for dinner or for lunch, they bring it out and they say, oh, this is so cool.
Right.
So one of the comments I get from young people is, we use apps for that. But my target market is older people do not like to go out to dinner when everybody's using their apps, because they start looking at text messages, responding, look at their pictures, and look at everything. And my age, we like to go out to dinner and talk with each other.
Yes.
So I don't like, and a lot of restaurants started this policy about you turn in your phone at the beginning of dinner. A lot of young people don't understand that, but my product is for people like me. And of course, I can figure out tips, but maybe I've had a few drinks and I just don't want to figure it out,
right,
or split the bill. So this was my first product. And I stopped it I put it on pause during the pandemic, because I did not want to encourage people my age to go out to dinner.
Yes.
Because I never went out, because I'm a high-risk COVID person. So instead of doing that, I came up with another idea. So my second idea is I spent like 1 month gathering all my pictures, because in those days we had photo albums. Now you only use smartphones. You don't take pictures, okay?
Yep.
But I have like 17 photo albums in my house. So I gathered up a bunch of pictures and I put them together in a book with captions, so I can pass it on to my children and my grandchildren, so they will know some interesting facts about me. And my book is different from most memoirs because it's all pictures. This is my book. And I was really proud to show that I used to be young once. This is me.
So
and what I did is I gathered a bunch of pictures just to tell them some kind of history about me. So where is this picture? This is I have so many pictures. Oh yeah, this is one of my favorite ones. I don't know if you can see that, but it says, this is my mom and me and my sister. I have 4 brothers. Okay, and I see, notice that car? I believe it's a Plymouth. I was born in that car. My parents couldn't make it to the hospital, so my father.
Wow.
So that's a little fact about me that I want my kids to know, because I think that's kind of interesting.
It's important.
Yeah. So I have a lot of interesting facts about me. Another fact that I didn't even know while my parents were alive is that my mother's parents immigrated to the United States from Poland in 1912. And they had to postpone their trip because she had morning sickness. The trip they postponed was on the Titanic. They had tickets for the Titanic. So these are things that I found out about myself, my history, I didn't even know about. So I have a whole page. It's just a picture of my grandparents and the Titanic.
Wow.
And telling 2 sentences about it. So people will know something about my history, because my history is their history. And
100%. 100%.
And so I want people, I meet so many people who are young like you, who will say, oh, my grandma just died and I didn't know so many things about her.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a chance for people to interview their parents and their grandparents before it's too late.
Mm-hmm.
So I call this.
I love that.
Thank you. I call this project Write Your Selfie. I call it that is because people your age are always taking selfies. People my age never take selfies. So this is called Write Your Selfie, because it's pictures. So these are my 2 products.
I love that, because it's so interesting, because recently, you see me in Clubhouse. I host a lot of rooms. I'm very involved in the business community, in the marketing community, and I'm also very involved in my Filipino community. So we pay, our history is not the correct history, so to speak. The ones that are written by, the one that we study in school is very, it's a history written by Americans when they colonized us, right? And prior to that, the Spanish. So it was never really history from a Filipino perspective. And I'm trying to, so some of our conversation is really retracing our roots. And one of the conversation is during the Japanese War. And my grandmother is a survivor of that. So understanding her story and asking those questions and how her experience was, it really gives it true meaning for me, and in being able to really understand what really is our story, what is really the true history, and also understanding the generational trauma that gets passed on from her mother, and then now to my mom, and then to myself, right? So
and
that's
to your kids,
and to my kids.
So they will have the story that you want them to know.
Absolutely.
So you're sort of like in the same category, and you need to write your own book.
Yes, absolutely. I keep hearing that, especially lately, about people saying, you need to start writing your book. And I'm like, oh, God.
So anybody can do it. You can do it without me. I'm really there for the people who want accountability and some tips. Okay. So I work with them on it, and it's my passion project right now, because I'm going to be gone, and nobody's going to hear these stories about me,
right?
Because I have some good stories too, just about myself. I was just telling you about my parents and my grandparents.
Those are really interesting.
Yeah. So this is my newest project. So I have 2 projects going on, and I've never had a business coach. So if I were your client, tell me what you would do.
Well, I usually you mentioned branding, and that's really the basic foundation whenever you're working with any businesses, right? Because first I need to understand who you are as a person and as a brand. Then, your personality or your learning style, how do you prefer to receive feedback? Then I need to understand where you're at and where you need to be, right? Once I've learned everything that I can about your offerings, your systems, then I would need to understand your vision for your company and the goals, like what I mentioned, your goals that you have for it. Every individual and every company, every business is unique. So that's always something that I know. So your vision is going to be unique as well. And as a business coach, I need to know in terms of, do you want to turn your business into a livable income, or is your goal to turn it into $1 million corporation or anything like that, right? So based on all those factors, that's when we can establish as to how do we move forward.
Okay, well, that's a fair answer. That's good. And this helps me, and I'm sure it's going to help so many people, because I think that this is one of the overlooked areas. There's so many coaches out there, but how do you know the difference? So that's why I kind of thought in my head, I'm looking at this clearly, like, how can this be helpful to somebody? So I will send you my article when I write. It's almost written, but I actually wrote it, but I haven't submitted it yet because I thought, let me do a little research and get some nuggets from some business coaches before I publish this. So, and I'm also going to have these recordings edited and post them. And I'm thinking of on Instagram, even though I don't know how to do it, I will learn. And then maybe on LinkedIn, maybe on
I also do Instagram coaching as well. That's one of my offerings too.
Okay. I hired an Instagram coach, not an Instagram marketer. Because I didn't know even what Instagram was. I mean, I heard about it and I heard everybody's on Instagram, but at my age, you're not going to see many people like me on Instagram, and my followers are not on Instagram. So I'm going to go for their children.
Yes, they're starting to actually, because my mom is very much a Facebook user. So I see my mom as your target audience, your target market, right?
Right.
So she's very much a Facebook user, and she's slowly diving into the Instagram world. Before, it was so confusing for her, right?
Right. It was confusing to me also. So I did hire somebody to do my Instagram posts, and I love her.
Good. It's
she's also from the Philippines, by the way.
Amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah. So now she constantly checks if I don't post. If she notices that I haven't posted in like 2 days, she would call me right away. And she's like, I haven't seen you post. And what's going on? Are you okay? So sweet. But yeah, no, it's slowly changing. So definitely your target audience would be on Facebook first. And then Instagram is really, a lot of times people are checking Instagram for whether you are a legit business. So
well, I had one post that got about 150 views, and it was about my tip and split. And so many people commented, oh my God, this is great.
Right.
I want to get one for my mom.
Exactly.
But nobody bought it. So I have to figure out, it's nice I have an Instagram account, but nobody really bought it. And
I'll have a look at your Instagram and see if there's anything that I can suggest.
I love the person who's working with me, and she's got a hard job because she's promoting my tip and split and my Write Your Selfie.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's a good idea or not. It has to be, because I do both of them.
Instagram has different aspects of strategy, right? Because Instagram is so other than it being Instagram, it's basically a landing page, a blog, a sales funnel, a online magazine, the whole thing, right? So every feature of the platform has different strategies. So there's different strategies for stories, there's different strategies for reels, there's different strategy for main posts, and there's even a strategy in terms of what you're going to put on your bio, right? So it's not enough that you're posting on it. It's also important that when you're posting, that there's certain strategy behind your intentions for every post. So understanding those and understanding the psychology as well behind the different features of the app and your target audience, then you can start creating content. It's not as simple as you're posting and you're expecting all of a sudden, like you see people looking at it, but what's going to trigger them to buy? That's the strategy.
Right. Well, I'm leaving it up to her. But I love her and I would hate to fire her. But I find a business coach.
I actually hire social media managers as well, but I provide the strategy, But so they're in charge of creating the graphics, the post, but in terms of what is the strategy and intent of every post, that's another layer, because you can hire social media managers and then all they're going to do is create content, right? But being mindful of, is there a strategy behind those content? What's the point of this, and what is the result that it's going to get, is always something that needs to be included in there. It's not just enough that they're spitting out content and they're posting. There's got to be some intentionality when it comes to every single post.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm learning a lot in Clubhouse, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
So I listen. I don't talk at all, but I sure listen. And I got the best tip about write your selfie. They don't know they gave me that tip, but somebody was talking, and I have a website for write your selfie, and I have purchased this course right on the main page, and I was getting nothing. So I just changed it to call for a free consultation.
Right.
I didn't know about that.
Yeah.
I still haven't gotten anything because I haven't broadcasted it yet. But I think it's such a big difference. Call me and we can talk about this, and I can help you. So I'm listening to Clubhouse for good ideas.
Definitely. And it's rich with that, but you have to be careful though as to because most of the times everyone is a guru, right? So you need to really understand in terms of doing your research. As much as we like to think that everyone is good, and there's tons of really good people in the app, don't get me wrong. I've met a lot of amazing people through Clubhouse, and even when I started, I reached out to, I love collaborating, and that's something that people need to understand in order for them to succeed in the platform, is that you need to be a natural collaborator, and you need to really reaching out and build your community through that, right? No one, and I mean no one, I can guarantee this at 100% certainty, no one comes into the platform on their own by themselves, doing everything just as a single person, thinking that they're going to succeed. You need other people, you need to reach out, and you really need to work with others if you want to succeed in the platform.
Well, this is so valuable. Okay, I'm sure your words are going to resonate with so many people, and I'm hoping you get a lot more business from
Thank you. Appreciate that.
So I have a few more questions, but I think you answered everything perfectly. And you answered for me and for other people when I share this information. So I thank you. I thank you very much. You see, I'm trying very well. I'm working at becoming a successful entrepreneur. I just need a little bit of guidance there. And so you're giving me a lot.
Thank you. Appreciate that. I think the other thing that I want to share with you as well is really having a clear picture as to what that success looks like, right? Because success is defined differently by different people. So really understanding what your picture of success is would be a great driving force in terms of mapping out to your next steps, right? And I think the other question that you wanted to ask is, what should be an outcome of a successful coaching process?
Exactly.
So that pretty much answered that in terms of how would you define success? Because for me, that's really the measurement, right? If I'm very results focused, so it's very important for me to understand that what is that goal. And also as a coach, I need to understand, is that even realistic? So I don't know if you've heard of the term SMART goals. So when you're setting goals, they need to be specific, they need to be measured, they need to be accurate, are they reliable, and also the time, right? So, realistic and time or timely. So all of those things need to be determined, because someone can say, oh, well, I'm starting this business, and they're saying, well, I want to grow it to like $1 billion within a year. It's not impossible, but is it realistic based on the kind of business, the resources, the time, all of those things? So that's really the role of a business coach, an effective business coach, for someone to say, hold on, wait a minute, so let's figure this out, so you avoid frustration and burnout, right? So that's really what it is. And I do want to thank you for taking the time for reaching out. And I have no doubt that you're going to be amazing at what you choose to do because you're fueled by your passion and you're an action person. I can see that you're the type of person that's not limited by, societal standards.
Exactly.
You mentioned it yourself. You're a grandmapreneur and you're owning it. And I love that. I always love seeing people that are not, I don't care what people say or what society thinks. This is what I want to do. And I found the need for this. I know who my market is. And I'm going to go for it. I love that spirit so much.
Thank you. And I love your spirit too. So this is a win-win.